Hey there, Jason with AMI Detail. I'm gonna go back to kind of where I started with detailing and really started with rinseless wash. It's nice because in the shop here, this one great thing, I don't have a drain, so with a rinseless wash, you're not using very much water. Again, it's not really about the water conservation, it's more about the cleanup. So again, you can use it in, especially wintertime. Excellent way to clean vehicles because you're just inside, same way, when it's kind of extreme heat, you can be in here and air conditioned, take your time, clean a car, but it's such a quick process too. So, and very simple for the tools that are needed. So again, this is a great entry spot for a lot of people because you do not need, you really don't even need a garden hose. Basically just need a bucket, your rinseless wash, pump sprayer is great to do the pre-spray, and then as far as wash media, I start with sponge because that was kind of what, with DIY Detail, that was really their method, and again, I think it's, a great method, so over the years here, tried some different sponges and stuff, and then one of the newer, there's that tri-fiber wash pad that Yum Cars came up with. That so I'm going to give that a shot today too, because I know with Yum Rinseless, it's the product I'm going to use today for doing this rinseless wash. And then as far as the nice part is after you get done, just use a towel to dry it off. So it's just a twist loop. This is the baby goat from House of Rags. It's just the smaller version of the goat, and 1200 GSM versus the 2300 GSM monster of a towel. So again, like I said, for the wash media, just squeeze it out here some. Type of, I really like the shape of this sponge, how it's got a little bit of a beveled edge there. And then again, the cuts in it allow it to, glide across evenly and just soak up any of the contaminated rinseless. And again, this is the wash pad. Again, it's got 3 different types of fibers, and then the foam material inside. A lot of them soak up so much product into the foam that it doesn't really release. Where this one acts, kind of it has the microfiber. It's picking it up, but then it also is releasing that when you go in to clean it off. So we'll give that a shot today. I just went with 3 gallons of water and then doing a standard 250 6-to-1. As you can see with the Bronco Sport here, pretty high level of contamination with driving with it's a limestone gravel in our area, and so this usually I kind of go a little slower, so I don't try not to get too much on there. But again, this was a good test for the to kind of show what kind of contamination you can have. So again, for a pump sprayer, just the local garden store, just picked up this. It's a 1500 milliliter, or they call it like 48 ounce. It's a little. A lot of them are 32 ounces, kind of the standard. But yeah, let me just go ahead and show you what we do here. Just, again, pumping that up. And then nice for the pre-spray is, again, it's just a matter of getting the product on there so it can start to encapsulate that dirt, surround that dirt, pull that up off the panel, You know, if you get more of a powered sprayer, it's kind of nice because then you get a little more rinsing action with that. Get a little bit higher here. But yeah, main thing is you want to just have a good, again, the level of contamination on this one's pretty high because you can see a lot of these areas. I'm going to see if I can adjust this spray pattern a bit here. There, get a little more focus here to, again, that's kind of helping to rinse down some of the bigger contamination off of there. That's, you know, a lot of it, that's what people comments about this type of wash is, well, how contaminated can a car be? And again, it's, you know, you really got to use some judgment and look at the safety of it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull you in a little closer here. You see, I'm just using that. Not a whole lot of pressure to kind of rinse off the bigger areas. But same way, like around the taillights. And of course, with an SUV, you get that. You know, this is probably the worst part of it right here. So again, out of, you know, kind of the same thing you do is you're going to start with the least contaminated areas and then kind of hit these heavier contamination, you know, save more of that towards the end of the wash. Okay, so with the back part treated there, again, let me get you in closer so you can see what I'm talking about for the pre-spray. Again, like I said, what that's doing is just kind of encapsulating that dirt, pulling it off the panel, using those surfactants in there to clean it. So now we'll go with like I said, it's the first time kind of using the wash pad, but basically you can see squeezed most of it out. It's got just a little bit so you kind of want it, that's where they talk about the verge of dripping. So it's just, you can see how it's just starting to drip there. So that's a good, because basically what you're trying to do is leave enough where this can soak up some of that contamination, but also leaving product in there to provide lubrication. So again, we just going across the surface here, not using any pressure at all. So it's not, you're not using it to push down and scrub anything. It's just basically, I mean, if you think about it, just like applying the product to the surface. So yeah, if you want to talk about contamination, again, that dust and stuff accumulates on that wiper blade, so this will be a good test for how well this releases. So again, you can see it looks nice and clean again. And with a white wash pad, that's really a telling, a real big demonstration of how well that is releasing from the product or releasing the contamination. So again, going across this bumper. And so here's a fairly clean side. Definitely dirty side there. Go into the bucket. And it's, and all I'm doing is dipping it in there and squeezing it out. Let's see, there's some little things on here. Looks like maybe little bits of tar or something, but it just, again, it's breaking that down. So let me get the rest of this bumper here. And then it's good to, on, kind of those heavier contaminated areas, go ahead and do a flip, kind of go over it once and hit the bigger stuff, and then flip your wash media over to the clean side, and, you can hit that same area again. It's almost like pre-wash, and then hitting it again with the, just to do the final cleaning. So areas around like this reflector, it's got a little bit more buildup in there, so I'm just kind of squeezing that out against, as you squeeze this, you can release more product, and then that will kind of help you flush out some of those areas. So like this area behind the license plate, and actually just went ahead and left the sponge extra wet and just squeezed it out around there, or the wash pad. Sorry, that thing is acting like a sponge. It's pretty cool. Okay, let me wipe this one side here. So yeah, being a surfactant base, it does have a different characteristic. Definitely don't, because like with some of the other hybrid ones or more polymer based rinseless, they just have this one is just more of a like the other ones have more of would leave streaks in there, and this one's more staying like a whole wetted panel. So it is a little different experience than other rinselesses that I've used. So then as far as the, it acts as a drying aid, so the level of lubrication and stuff is built into the product for while you're using it here. So again, with that, you just take in your drying towel and wiping over that, every place that you pre-treated, and then did the, basically that was your contact wash. So on this vehicle, it's got a lot of the piano black, the whole top portion, the whole roof of it is that way. And like with the tinted windows, you can easily see how it flashes. So I go across that surface and get around the lettering here a little better. And that's the nice part with with this twist loop. You kind of pushes into the corners there to get some of those areas. This other tail light. In this lower section. And again, with that basically being your contact wash, and you got all that contamination is already pulled off the vehicle. So when you're doing your drying, and you can see the towel is nice and clean still. There's no, because again, all you're wiping off is the clean rinseless that was left behind. So yeah, I think you can say, as far as this back panel, that's walks you through the process of it. And on this piano black trim, let's do kind of a final. These hinges like to hold water, so they're always a fun one to deal with. So again, if you get more into add more tools to your arsenal, you could easily hit areas like that with the blower, around the tail lights and emblems and stuff. Hit that with the blower, and then that stops any drips or anything that could occur. But again, really wanted to keep this as just a real basic overview, demonstrating what kind of contamination you can easily handle with a rinseless. So let me turn it around here, get a better. So here we go, overall. Again, that's just, like I said, just using 3 gallons at 256 to 1. I do have a grit guard in the bottom. Under one of the side panels, I can go ahead and demonstrate using the sponge. But wanted to give that wash padded try, and yeah, that thing's just like Nick mentioned. It's definitely different than any other wash pad I've ever used. So it does actually act a lot like a sponge because it's releasing that. So I mean, even using that wash pad with soap in a normal conventional type wash, I could see where that would be great too, because again, it's releasing any contamination. So sometimes microfiber has a tendency to grab stuff, and then when you dunk it, it doesn't always let it go, and that's where the sponge is real good at that. So, but yeah, overall, like I say, I'll pull it in closer here. So it did an excellent job of cleaning. So we'll try it's an uncoated vehicle. Sometimes it gets like squeaky clean. So nice part is this does not leave any sort of protection. So I mean, it's got a nice, you can feel the paint is just clean. It doesn't have any sort of, it's almost got sort of a grabby feel, because this does have, last coating I put on here was luminous aqua, so it was just a spray on rinse off. So I mean, you can definitely feel how that's basically cleaned back to that. But as far as the piano black, it's looking good. Window wise. Yeah, so hope that kind of gives you a good demonstration on that. Again, we'll go ahead and I'll do the same thing on the side panel, and we'll do it more real time, and I'll shut up and just do the process and you can watch.